Hello, beautiful people. Happy new week and welcome to your astrological forecast. And this time I'm going to do things a little bit differently because I'm going to cover 2 weeks instead of just one. So the next astrological forecast you will be watching will be the one where I'll be covering the upcoming the next lunation, which will be the full moon lunar eclipse in Pisces, because I will be actually traveling at the end of next weekend, so I will be a little bit busy. And also prior to that, I have some personal commitments. I'm actually attending my good friend's wedding, so some personal stuff is going on in my life, so I'm just doing what I can when I can. So I'm actually pre-recording this video, but it will be released, I guess, by the time you're watching this. We just had the new moon in Virgo, and this is video that's going to cover the astrology for the rest of this week and the upcoming week until the week that will then hold the lunar eclipse in Pisces and also the equinox, which I will be talking about in my next astrological forecast. So as always, I would like to open this space and call in on my higher self, my spirit guides, ascended masters, beings of light, angels, ancestors, and all the beings of light that want to be present and support this conversation. Thank you for being here, and thank you for being here and for watching my video. I will definitely try to make it shorter than an hour and a half. So if you would like to know any more about Virgo New Moon, you can definitely find enough information on my YouTube channel. But we're going to move on from there and pick up where we left off. So we started this week with Uranus retrograde, Pluto retrograde back in the sign of Capricorn, Moon in the sign of Virgo, and also the third and final trine between Mercury and Chiron retrograde in Aries. And as we know, they already had 2 trines. One was on July 18th, right before the full moon in Capricorn number 2, and the second one was on August 23rd, right after the full moon in Aquarius. So then we had the new moon in Virgo, which actually for me here in the UK is happening on Tuesday early morning, and right after the new moon in Virgo, we are experiencing the square between Mars in Gemini and Neptune retrograde in Pisces, which of course also, and everything that I'm going to be naming for this week is fully active and present during the new moon in Virgo we just experienced. So this square is the first quarter square. The conjunction between the two of them happened on April 28, and this is a crisis in action, something that has to change. We know Neptune retrograde in Pisces, it's taking us inwards to reevaluate everything that now is culminating in our life, personal lives, and life of the human collective consciousness, because we know the reality we've been experiencing until this point is rapidly changing. And also Mars being a sign of Gemini, it's all about the choice of perceive reality in a different way and respond to it in a different way. And at this stage, Mercury still is in the sign of Leo, so it's all about going to the heart, tapping into your authentic expression, what is real authentic for you, because it's no longer about looking outwards, which I'm going to pick up on right after that on Tuesday the 3rd evening or Wednesday the 4th early morning, depending where you are in the world. Either way, after this Mars square to Neptune, Venus, now in Libra, Venus is making a conjunction to South Node and opposition to North Node, of course, ruled by Mars. And Venus is still the current ruler of the South Node. So this is the second time Venus and South Node are conjuncting since Venus became the ruler of the South Node. The first conjunction between the two, as Venus being the South Node ruler, happened on November 29th, 2023, which was right after the full moon in Gemini, and that took place on November 27th. And also the last conjunction between Venus and North Node then happened on April 17th, which we already talked about. So this is definitely a close in a cycle of a previous, not even a year, because they conjuncted at the end of November. And what everything we learned during this period of time, which I already touched up on during my interpretation of the new moon in Virgo, because there was so much that took place since the new moon in Virgo last year. And then, of course, we had this conjunction between Venus and South Node. And all this stuff is now, we are invited to put into practice what we learned throughout that period of time, because this is a south node, this is the node we are evolving, and we're going to have one more and final eclipse in the sign of Libra in October, so which will not have the lunar eclipse as opposition to it, because the next lunar eclipse, the next lunar eclipse this year will be, of course, the one in Pisces, but the lunar eclipse, the first lunar eclipse of 2025 will be the one in Virgo, which will be the opposition of this new moon in Virgo we just experienced. So, okay, let's just move on, because we have a lot to talk about. Wednesday the 4th, right after this, not right after, but the same day, opposition between Venus and the North Node, or conjunction between Venus and the South Node. Moon is going to move into the sign of Libra, so Moon also will have an opposition to North Node and conjunction to South Node a few hours after that. So Moon is moving into the sign of Libra, which is again helping us to balance things. And what is more interesting, Mars is moving into the sign of Cancer, ruled by Moon, Moon ruled by Venus, Venus being in a sign of Libra. And of course, Moon, apart from the fact that it's going to conjunct South Node, is also going to conjunct Venus the following day on Thursday the 5th. So Mars moving into the sign of Cancer. Now, this is not as easy as it sounds. It's quite not complicated, but it's not as simple as Mars is moving into Cancer, and then it's gonna move into Leo on November 4th, actually, which is right after the new moon in Scorpio. But there is a catch, because we know that Mars is going to have a retrograde at the end of this year. Mars is going to station retrograde. I have written December 8th. If that's on a different day for different people, this is what I've got written here. December 8th, Mars is going to station retrograde in Leo, and then Mars is going to retrograde back into the sign of Cancer on January 7th, which is right in between the new moon in Capricorn and the full moon in Cancer, which will be the first lunation for 2025. And then Mars is going to end his retrograde on February 24th, and it's going to re-enter the sign of Leo on April 19, 2025. So Mars is going to go into Cancer, but Mars is going to go back into Cancer in 2025. So that's what I mean. Between now, which is September, and end of not end, but until more than mid-April, almost the third of April 2025, which is already first third of the year, right? Let me think. How many months we have? So 4, 8, 12. First third of the year, because the quarter is 3 months. So Mars will be in Cancer for a very long time, even though it is going to have that 1 month in the sign of Leo, 2 months, 2 months from November 4th until January 7th, 2 months in Leo, but it's gonna be in Cancer for a very long time. What does this mean? Of course, by the time Mars will stop his retrograde, by the time when Mars will re-enter Cancer, the nodes will still be in Libra and Aries, so Mars will still be the ruler of the North Node at that time. But by the time Mars will stop his retrograde in February 24th, 2025, the nodes will be already in Virgo and Pisces. So by the time Mars will re-enter Leo in April 2025, the nodes will be in a completely different sign to where they're gonna be this year when Mars will enter Leo and then have its retrograde starting from. So this is very interesting, and what it really signifies, at least for me, in my humble opinion, and this is all happening under influence of Moon being in the sign of Libra, is what I was talking about in the last week video, which is all this neutralization and us shedding these old layers of identity, us continuing the same patterns and being the same versions of ourselves that we played in different lives, or not even, because we are always unique. Each time we incarnate and reincarnate, we are unique. We never will be exactly the same people we are now, again, and we never were exactly the same as we are now. But it's the patterns, this attachment to identity, the ego attachments, that we need to behave certain way and be certain way, because no matter what roles we played, in the previous lifetimes, we were still conditioned by the collective conditioning, which, for thousands of years said that Somebody else determines who we are, what we worth, what is our purpose and all the rest of it. So it doesn't matter what role we played in a previous lifetimes. Very often we were still under a very strong influence of our external environment that determined certain things in our life, like I just said, like who we are, what is our purpose, and what we can and can't do. So Mars entering the sign of Cancer under the influence of Moon in the sign of Leo, and I did not check where Moon will be during the further ingresses. But this is all about balancing. This is all about balancing these versions of ourselves we were with who we are now, so we can neutralize these energies, as I was talking about last weekend, and then there is the opportunity for creating a new energy, neutralization of the plus and the minus that just become zero, and then we can start again from something completely different, so we don't have to be stuck on this karma wheel, as I was talking about previously, and I don't want to keep recreating the same wheel where we feel like we have to be reborn to play the opposite role to the one that we played previously, so we can neutralize the energy, so we can balance the scale, so to speak. So Mars entering in a sign of Cancer, we're going to enjoy Mars in a sign of Cancer until November, right? November 4th, yes. So we have a couple of months to see, and this is, of course, it's all eclipse times, eclipse season, when we're going to be having Mars in a sign of Cancer, and Mars as the ruler of the North Node is saying it's time for the self-discovery. It's time to discover who we are now, because then when that retrograde will kick off in the sign of Leo and then goes back into the sign of Cancer, it will be excavating these identities. It will be reevaluating everything, because when Venus had a retrograde last year in a sign of Leo, in a Leo season in August, Venus is the ruler of the South Node. So Venus was trying to help us understand where we've been influenced by someone else, where's all this conditioning and programming has been projected and imprinted onto us because of the adoption, because of how we adopted all these things based on the environment that we were born into in order to belong and fit in, right? Because we're social creatures. But now Mars is going to be in a sign of Cancer, and then Leo, and then retrograde, and Mars is like, no, Mars is all about new direction, Aries is all about new cycle, and Mars, also being traditional ruler of Scorpio, and like I said, Mars is going to enter Leo right after new moon in Scorpio. So this is all about power. This is all about finding your power within, in opposition with Taurus. We all have whatever we need inside of us to make us feel empowered. We don't need someone else to tell us, who we need to be in order to feel empowered, which is kind of like an oxymoron, right? Like you need to become this by somebody else's standards, okay? By somebody else's standards to feel empowered. Like, well, as long as we look up to someone else to tell us anything, we always feel disempowered. So yeah, people, can advise us and stuff, but we shouldn't be having to be told what to do and how to live our life. It's that's not very Aquarian. So anyway, let's move on again before I get stuck for half an hour over one transit. Then for the rest of the week, there will be not much happen. Oh, started. Okay, let's just get stuck on Saturday. On Saturday the 7th, September the 7th, Mercury is making his third and final square to Uranus. So we started the week with Mercury making his third and final trine to Chiron, retrograde in Aries, and now Mercury is going to make his third and final square to Uranus, retrograde in Taurus, ruled by Venus. And now Venus being a sign of Libra, all about balancing, of course. This is still under influence of Moon being a sign of Libra, therefore ruled by Venus in Libra, and Venus is the ruler of Uranus in Taurus as well. So Mercury still being in the sign of Leo, so the two squared each other on July 21st, which was the full moon in Capricorn number 2, and August 18, which was right before the full moon in Aquarius, right? So this is again first quarter square between Uranus and Mercury, and this is all about crisis in action. Again, it's the same thing. Like we need to start interacting with external reality in a different way, which is more heart-centered, which is more authentic to us, which is more like innocent, like childlike innocence, like giving a benefit of a doubt rather than just like adopting all these past labels and then people don't even have a chance, right? So anyway, so then after that on the same day, Moon will move into the sign of Scorpio. So we'll have the Moon in a sign of Scorpio for the entire weekend again, and this is bringing us inwards to investigate on a very deep, profound level. And then we're going to end this week on Sunday the 8th with Sun making an opposition to Saturn retrograde, which of course was present for this new moon in Virgo, because the new moon in Virgo was opposed by Saturn, but the exact opposition is happening on Sunday the 8th. Well, depend where you are in the world. For people on the Pacific coast, it is just before midnight on Saturday the 7th, but for majority of people is on Sunday the 8th. Sun in opposition with Saturn, so this is the halfway, and their conjunction took place on February 28th. February 28, 2024, and this is happening on 16 degrees and 2 minutes, which is a Cancer decan. So again, what are we balancing? You know, what are we putting into practice? A Sun now by this point will be halfway through Virgo, so you know, this is Capricorn decan, Saturn, right? Capricorn decan, which is telling us like, well, yeah, you know, the path towards self-mastery, it's through making mistake. It's through learning by, you know, accumulating all these tools on our journey. And now is this balancing, you know, this balancing. Saturn is on the other side, retrograde in Pisces, which is like, oh yeah, you know, here is it, you know, the totality, and now we can balance it. So this is all the same thing. It's just from different perspective. And then Pallas is gonna move into Sagittarius. And then the week later, so technically this entire week we are just integrating what happened during this new moon in Virgo, you know, because everything that I just named is already active, you know, was already active during the time of this new moon in Virgo, which is just telling us about these adjustments that needs to be made, because the next lunation is the eclipse, and the full moon in Virgo will be the eclipse. And as I mentioned in my super long video, we will have 2 new moons in Virgo next year. One of them will be eclipse and one won't. Then it will be 0 and 29 degrees. I mean, seriously, you know, these are analytic degrees. So, okay, the week after that, the week starting from 9-9, which is the day I'm traveling. So 9-9 portal, Mercury will move into the sign of Virgo. Well, Mercury will re-enter Virgo because Mercury already was in Virgo before Mercury started retrograde on August 5th, right? So Mercury is re-entering Virgo on 9-9, and Mercury will remain in the sign of Virgo until September 26th. So Mercury will be in the sign of Virgo for the first eclipse, but Mercury will be in the sign of Libra for the second eclipse. And simultaneously on the same day, Moon will be moving into the sign of Sagittarius, and the two will square each other right off the bat. The first aspects a Moon will make after moving into the sign of Sagittarius will be a square to Mercury. So, and this, so it's Sagittarius, Virgo, then we have Sagittarius. This is a crisis in action for Moon to Mercury, right? Because Moon moves faster than Mercury. So, yeah, you know, it's all about expansion. It's all about expansion. Mercury in Virgo is super strong. We already had Mercury in Virgo, but Mercury needs to go back to Leo to not be so logical, but to actually connect with the heart and use discernment, not just from the left brain, but from the right brain as well, to engage both, you know, which is all about this harmony and balance, right? So now Moon is in a sign of Sagittarius, so it's saying about this expansion, you know, how we need to expand, how we need to grow and evolve, because of course Jupiter is in the sign of Gemini, ruled by Mercury. So, and you know, currently obviously Moon being a sign of Sagittarius, Jupiter will be its ruler. So it's all about expansion through making different choices. And this week will be actually very quiet, to be honest, because then there is nothing much happening for the rest of the week until Thursday. So Moon will be in the sign of Sagittarius for like 4 days, which is very, you know, unusual for Moon to be so long in one sign. It will move into the sign of Capricorn. For me here in Europe, well, actually by that point I'll be in the US, so it even for US, for Eastern at least, it will be still already Thursday, but for everybody else, you know, for Central, Mountain and Pacific, it will be still Wednesday night. Moon will move into the sign of Capricorn. Oh my gosh, I just closed my notes. Okay, I got it. I just closed my own notes. So where did I finish? So we finished with the Moon moving into the sign of Capricorn on Wednesday night, Thursday morning. And right after that, Mercury will make a sextile to Mars. and this is Mercury being a sign of Virgo, Mars being a sign of Cancer. And we might remember that they just had a sextile very recently on 24th of August. Mars made a sextile to Mercury. Mars was in a sign of Gemini, and Mercury was retrograde in a sign of Leo. So they're just having two sextiles from two different signs, like 2 weeks apart. Well, little bit over 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks apart. And and before it was the fire and the air, and now is the water and the earth. So fire and the air gives you the idea, the sparkle of creativity, because Mercury was in Leo. It was bringing out all these, all these ideas from the inner child, from our heart. And now Mercury is in a sign of Virgo. It's saying, okay, let's do something about it. Mars was in a sign of Gemini. So it's like, okay, what are we choosing? Now Mars is in a sign of Cancer, which is the water, which is like, okay, let's create earth and water, it's the creation. So they're having a sextile. This is still, Mercury, it's in a crisis in action to Mars. Sorry, not crisis in action. This is a Taurus sextile. So this is all about putting it into practice, so we create a stronger foundation. So that makes perfect sense, right? Because Moon is in the sign of Capricorn, which is all about this manifesting. Capricorn is about manifestation, about creating a new structure. So yeah, Mercury being in a sign of Virgo, making a sextile to Mars in a sign of Cancer, under the influence of Moon being in a sign of Capricorn, makes perfect sense to me. And then on the same day, we are experiencing Sun making a square to Jupiter, Sun being in a sign of Virgo, Jupiter still being in a sign of Gemini direct, because Jupiter will station retrograde in October. So this is with regards to Sun to Jupiter, because Sun is special. Even though their last conjunction happened, Sun to Jupiter, on May 18, 2024. So technically this is their first square since that conjunction, but because Sun is special, when we look at it on the chart, it's the final square, because Sun is the center stage. So it's the crisis in consciousness, and Sun being in the sign of Virgo and Jupiter being in the sign of Gemini, whilst Mercury is in the sign of Virgo as well. So Mercury is the ruler of Sun, and Jupiter is in the sign of his exaltation and rulership. This is about this putting into practice what we learned through discernment and through our heart, because of course last time Mars is the rule of the North Node, and Mercury sextile was Gemini and Leo. So Mercury at the time was the ruler of Mars. So anyway, so as I mentioned, this is a crisis in consciousness square, which is telling us that something has to be released. Something has to be released, and it's this old way of being, this desire for perfection, this self-criticism, because we were being criticized outwardly, this inferior or superior ego. It doesn't matter which ego it is, it has to be balanced, because, if people have no ego whatsoever, then the world is going to walk all over them. So there has to be a balance. So it is crisis in consciousness, which is saying something has to be released. Something has to be released, like in our consciousness, in order for this cycle to end, so things can change. And this is under the influence, like I said, Moon in a sign of Capricorn, which is about creating a new structure of reality and becoming our own authority. And Mercury making a sextile to Mars, which is about the Taurus sextile. So that's it for that week. And then the weekend, on Saturday the 14th, Moon moves into the sign of Aquarius, and then we're going to end that week Sunday the 15th, and I believe hopefully by then I will have recorded my lunar eclipse in Pisces video. So Sunday the 15th, we're going to end that week with Venus making a trine to Jupiter, and their conjunction took place on May 23rd, right before the full moon in Sagittarius, and it was on 29 degrees of Taurus. So they conjunct right before Venus moved out of Taurus into Gemini, and it was right before the full moon in Sagittarius, and it was 2 days before Jupiter himself moved into the sign of Gemini. So under the influence of Moon being a sign of Aquarius, which is all about individuation and breaking free, Venus is making a trine to Jupiter, and Venus is in the sign of Libra, which is all about balance. And by this point, Venus is in Gemini Decan, 20 degrees, 24 minutes. So it's all about the choice. And Jupiter in Gemini is all about the choice as well. It's all about this expansion. And on the same day, Mercury is making a conjunction to Vesta. And then we're going to start the week, the week of the eclipse and the week of the equinox, which starts with Monday the 16th, with Mars making a square to the nodes. Mars will make square to the nodes whilst Moon is still in the sign of Uranus, in a sign of Aquarius, and Moon will be square in Uranus. So Mars will become the skip steps from the sign of Cancer. So Mars will be pointing to the North Node. The resolution node will be the North Node in Aries, and that's ruled by Mars, which is saying that we cannot remain to be the same people we were, because we have to become a new version of ourselves in order to experience a new version of reality, or experience the reality differently. So yeah, and this will be fully active. This Mars being the skip steps will be fully active for this full moon lunar eclipse in Pisces, which will be taking place in conjunction with Neptune. But that's for another video. So technically, as I said, what we've got going on here this week, the week that I will not be making a video for, the main thing is this creating a new foundation from the place of Virgo, because of Mercury being in Virgo, making a sextile to Mars, releasing the old belief systems and the old bias and the old judgments, because of the Sun making a square to Jupiter, Venus making a trine to Jupiter, which is all about balance, and this is under the influence of Venus being in a new phase with the South Node in Libra. So, Venus is not the same Venus that conjuncted South Node last year, because Venus already conjuncted Pluto in Aquarius this year. So this is a different energy. It's all about breaking free, about going beyond. And like I said, Mars is going to be square in the nodes. And this is how we start the week of the eclipses. So yeah, so there is technically there is nothing really much else to add, because this is all this new moon in Virgo is seeding this new energy that's going to be taking us into next year, into this, full moon lunar eclipse in Virgo, which will be, at just before Neptune moves into the sign of Aries, because Neptune is moving into the sign of Aries at the end of March, right before the eclipse in Aries, which will be taking place in, the Virgo will be, I think it's April 2nd, April 1st or April 2nd. It will be literally at the beginning of April. So this is all preparation for that. And this eclipse in Pisces is again the closing phase with the nodes, because the nodes are still in Aries in Libra, So we are now entering this stage where there will be a lot of adjustments that will be taking place in our lives, because we just experienced that eclipse in April, which was the first one in a new phase conjunction with the North Node in Aries, and new beginning, new direction, that we had all these shifts. We had the conjunction between Jupiter and Uranus, Mars and Uranus, Mars and Jupiter, all these things happened between April and now we had this Aquarius full moon, which was the last full moon before this eclipse moon, which is upcoming. And this was the illumination of how we get in there, where we do or don't feel sovereign, where we do or don't feel authentic, where we do or don't have the resources we need to feel this way, and all the rest of it. So I already covered all of that. So literally now, with this Virgo season and this new moon in Virgo, which just kicked off, which is now preparing us for the eclipses, but the first eclipse is going to be in Pisces, which is a lunar eclipse in a closing phase, actually not closing phase, but it is a closing phase with the nodes, but it is Neptune is in a new phase to the eclipse, because Neptune is still ahead of it, right? Well, technically, if you're looking at the moon, if you're looking at the moon, I have to picture this in my head because I don't have the chart. So if you're looking at the moon will be closing to Neptune. So this makes so much sense, because with the Mars being in the sign of Cancer, yes, so the lunar eclipse that will be the next one, which is what we're preparing for now. So these 2 weeks, which I'm covering now, which I just made all this logical stuff, this, naming of the aspects. So these 2 weeks are literally preparing us for this massive point of release, because this new energy, this Virgo, this new moon in Virgo energy got seeded, which said, yes, things have to change, but we need to do something. Virgo is an earth sign. It's about practicality. It's about practical application. We actually have to do something. We cannot just, go like la 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 la. But of course, Mars was, at the time of the new moon in Virgo, Mars was still in a sign of Gemini. Mars moved into the sign of Cancer afterwards. So what we actually have to do is not like go out there and, necessarily go and build a garden, which is, could be part of it. But the main thing that has to happen, the main thing we have to do is to shift the way we think, and then when Mars moves into the sign of Cancer, Cancer is the intuition, is to connect with our emotions and connect with our inner world. So this is what this new moon in Virgo, initiated, because new moon is a dark moon, new moon is a black moon, it doesn't have any light. We put in the seeds into the earth. So what it initiated, especially as right after that we had the square between Mars and Neptune, which is the crisis in action. Exactly, that's what I mean. It all makes sense. Spirit is giving me stuff here and I'm like, but it makes sense because we have the aspects to prove it, that it makes sense. So this new moon in Virgo seeded this initiation of change. And the change has to happen on our mental level. This Gemini, we need to start thinking in a different way. We need to start catching ourselves when these old thoughts, these old belief systems, these old biases, these old same old, because the ego will always offer an information based on the past experience. Always, whatever you're going through, the first thing that's gonna pop into your head based on the ego mind, when we're looking for a solution, when we just in our head, it's gonna be something from the past, a solution that worked or did not work in the past, something that the ego will just try to give it to us, like, here you go, this is what happened last time, and based on this, either do this or don't do this, right? The difference is when we tune in, because sometimes what our intuition is telling us does not make any sense to our ego, and this is where ego goes like, what you mean, but we don't have any proof for it, right? Just like me now, like, oh, okay, what is there going on astrologically that I have a proof for what I'm just talking about? So this is all an initiation of this necessity to make adjustments, and they starts from our mind, the way we think, and they we connect with the reality that we are experiencing. Venus is in a sign of Libra. Venus, right after this new moon in Virgo, made a conjunction with this, actually when I'm releasing this video, Venus is going to be making the conjunction with the South Node. She's closing the cycle of the last year when we had the seeding of the energy with the first eclipse in Libra last October 14th. We had the seeding of this energy of being aware, becoming aware of the imbalance in the world, and understanding where did it come from, and understanding what needs to be done in order to balance this imbalance. So this is why, in the last video, and even in my practical application of astrology, there was all this stuff coming out about this neutralization, plus and minus, and what needs to be done in order for this energy of the past to be neutralized and released, so a new energy can come. So all these aspects I just named are literally the planets again dancing and creating a choreography to support that energy, because the next thing that's coming, which I didn't even look at the chart, so I can't tell you from my head what's going to be happening, I'm just telling you what I'm getting here. The next lunation will be the full moon lunar eclipse in Pisces, which is out of sign, because the nodes are still in Libra and Aries, seriously. So this seeding is initiating that which will become illuminated and saying you cannot go this way anymore. You cannot go this way anymore because the moon will be closing to Neptune. The moon will be closing to Neptune because the full moon lunar eclipse in Pisces will be on 25 degrees. Neptune will not be on 25 degrees. I believe Neptune will be on 28 degrees. So the moon will be closing to Neptune as the ruler of the Pisces eclipse. And Jupiter will be still direct in a sign of Gemini. And Mercury at this point, I said it's still where? Mercury is still in Virgo. Yes, so perfect. Mercury is in Virgo. We just had a new moon in Virgo. At the time of the next eclipse, Mercury will be still in Virgo. Mercury is the ruler of the Jupiter. Jupiter is the traditional ruler of Pisces, and Neptune is the modern ruler of the Pisces. So this is all preparation. Literally these 2 weeks with all these planetary changes, now Pluto being back in the sign of Capricorn, Uranus as that was ruler of Pluto until Pluto moved back into the sign of Capricorn. Uranus just gone retrograde. Literally just before Pluto moved back into the sign of Capricorn, Uranus went retrograde. Why? Because Pluto was in Aquarius for the second time. Pluto already was in Aquarius for 5 minutes in 2023, and the energy started coming, but for Pluto in Aquarius is going to blow our sockets. This is not an energy we can integrate like in one day. Yes. So we had to have this slow, like dripping of the energy, like when you have a baby, and you cannot give it a chicken, like first it goes after breast milk or, formula or whatever. And then when baby is 6 months old, you start giving it much food, but it has to be simple food, like carrots or something, something simple that is easily digestible. Yeah. You cannot give it chicken, or you cannot give it candy or something. It just, the digestion system would not be able to take it, it would make the baby sick. Right. So this is what's happening with this Pluto in Aquarius energy. We started getting the formula, and then this year, Pluto was in Aquarius much longer. We started getting the mushy food, like the baby food, right? And then Pluto is now back in a Capricorn, and that's it, Pluto on 29 degrees, full moon lunar eclipse, on 25 degrees, but in conjunction with Neptune. Moon is closing to Neptune. This is all endings. And what is endings? This old way of being, this old way of existing in this reality. It is not possible. It is not possible to keep going that way anymore. Saturn is on Cancer decan. Mars is in the sign of Cancer, as of when? Let me check my logical mind data. When is Mars moving into the sign of Cancer? Because I really don't, I don't know this. I have to check these things. When is Mars? The 4th, okay, right after the new moon in Virgo. Either way, Mars is in the sign of Cancer, Saturn is retrograde in the Cancer decan. This is all about us having to release the old way of being, old ways of being a human, because these old ways of feeling about ourselves, which is why we had all these sextiles, which are Taurus flavor, because are saying we need to create a new foundation. We need to create a new foundation where we are interacting with ourselves in a different way, to have a very different relationship with ourselves, with this physical body that is connecting the soul to this human experience, right? This physical body is an avatar through which the spirit has an experience through us, but it's all connected. It's not like you are some kind of puppet to your spirit. No, you are the spirit, you are the soul, but you are now incarnate in a physical body. So the old way of being, which was disconnected from the spirit, which was where the spirit was not allowed to be present, because we always looked up to this other, this Libra, this religion or culture or the king or the queen or, your husband or your father or someone else, always someone else, right? It was never looking inwards to ourselves, this moon, this new moon, full moon, this is why these lunations are so important. New moon, full moon, everything that's happening between the lunation is just to support the lunations, because the moon is your inner world. The moon is your intuition. Yes, the moon is your ego identity as well, but the moon is connected to the spirit because Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces, they all support each other. It's literally the grand water trine is literally that. You have the Pisces, which is the spirit, is that all there is Pisces. It's all there ever is, was, and will be, it's Pisces. Then you have the Cancer, which is when the spirit not fragments itself, but like pours itself into the human body, and then you have this body, Taurus, this body, and then you have the Cancer, which is this identity, this is my identity as a spirit incarnate in a physical body. This is who I am for this lifetime. And then you have the Scorpio, which say like, okay, you came here as a spirit into the human body to transform yourself, to go through the process of metamorphosis, because we are constantly evolving. We don't come here to just just exit this life exactly as we entered it. I mean, yes, there are there are souls that decide to die when they're still in womb, when they don't even come to the don't take their first breath, or or when they babies, or whatever the soul decides. Like, from human point of view, this is tragic and it makes no sense. Why would the soul want to come back to earth for 5 minutes? It makes no sense. But for the soul, it's all just about the experience. Like, how can we grow and evolve through all these different experiences? So all this in between Virgo New Moon and Pisces Full Moon, which will be an eclipse, the first eclipse of this upcoming season, even though we are not yet in the new season because the equinox is happening afterwards. This is all a preparation. This is all a preparation for the upcoming times, because Pluto is back in the sign of Capricorn on 29 degrees retrograde. Uranus, as the former and upcoming ruler of Pluto for the next 20 years, is retrograde. So the evolution is now taking us again inwards. But we are in Virgo season, which is saying we need to discern and we need to put into practice what we've learned. But this is coming from the way how we identify reality, which is how your brain identifies the reality around you, and what labels we are attached to that makes us perceive the reality certain way and perceive ourselves this certain way. So now this is why Mercury and Mars are having another sextile, which is a Taurus sextile, creating foundation from the earth and water sign. Before it was the air and the fire sign. So it was showing us with the Mercury retrograde at the time in August, it was showing us like that we need to go inwards. We need to go inwards because the true answers to where we are going, where each individual one of us, which is creating the collective, the we, each of us, each I is part of the we, but we all came here with a unique purpose. We all are a unique expression of the source. So with this retrograde in, the first retrograde of Mercury, before that, Mercury ended retrograde entering into this year, and it was in the sign of Sagittarius, right? So we had Sagittarius, then we had Aries, now we have a Leo, and I believe the next one again will be, I believe Sagittarius or something. I didn't check. I don't have the data. But anyway, we have all these fire signs, which is the fire of creation. But we know Mars was in a sign of Pisces during the time of the eclipse in Aries, in April. So it's co-creation with the spirit. We are maxed out with regards to this separation. How far can we go to feel separate by being human in a physical form, separate from the spirit? This is maxed out. This experience of suffering and separation and continuously chasing our tail and being on a hamster wheel, this experience is maxed out. It's maxed out. It cannot be happening again. It cannot be keeping reincarnating and keep going in this direction, because this is no longer desired. This is no longer desired by us on a soul level, and it's no longer desired by the source, because we are the extension of the source, and it's also no longer desired by anything. The universe is ascending. The planet Earth is ascending. And the higher we go on the ascension ladder, even though it is not linear, it's not like higher, it's not like better or worse, but the further we go in our evolution, there is less polarization, there is less polarity, there is less good and bad and stuff. There is just this neutralization, this peace. And this is where we're trying to get to. So this new moon in Virgo was the initiation. And now these 2 weeks in between until we'll experience the lunar eclipse in Pisces, this is the preparation, and we will, with all these retrograde planets, because everything is retrograde, but Mercury now is back direct, thanks God. So Mercury is back direct to help us put that which we realized, which we reevaluated and learned throughout the retrograde into practice. And now we're going to be doing exactly that, because on the internal level, with all these retrograde planets, including Pluto in Capricorn, we are the evolution is speeding up. There is a quickening. Yes, there is a quickening. So everything is becoming faster. The process of transmutation on the cellular and DNA level internally, because Capricorn, again, Earth, like our body is the result of the human transmutation. As we go through ages, we don't look the same way we looked 1,000 years ago. This continuous evolution, the human body also keeps evolving and and changing, right? And ascending. Our brains, you know, are much more sophisticated than they used to be. You know, everything is changing all the time. So this Capricorn, this is the manifestation. This is the manifestation also of our evolution prior to this point. So Pluto being retrograde in Capricorn on 29 degrees, while Saturn is being retrograde on Pisces on Cancer Decan, and Neptune being retrograde in Pisces also, but this is a Scorpio Decan evolution, right? And Neptune will be a participant of the next eclipse because it's a ruler, and also because Moon will be closing to it. The old way of human is ending. The old way of human is ending. I think, was it Dr. Alberto Villoldo? I think, yeah, he said something in a sense that the human, was it the human, Homo sapiens, right? Homo sapiens, is that what we identify ourselves as at the moment? Homo sapiens is being, you know, we going through this extinction. Homo sapiens is being extinct because it is this homo luminous, where our light body wants to be much more prominent, and the soul wants to be present because we are made of light. So it wants to be more activated. This is what we becoming. This is what we becoming. And this Virgo new moon was the initiation of becoming that, because the solar eclipse in Aries, this was the idea. This was the passion. This was the fire. This is the fire, but this is the earth. The Virgo is the earth, but there is still a lot of balancing that has to take place, which is when we have one more new moon solar eclipse in Libra in October, and Venus is already in a new phase cycle with the South Node. Last year that was not the case. Venus had a conjunction with South Node after the eclipse. Venus had a conjunction with South Node in November. The eclipse was in October, so Venus was still in a closing phase with the South Node. Now Venus will be in a new phase with the South Node because they have in a conjunction right after the new moon in Virgo. So this is a very different energy because we know a lot more than we did 1 year ago. We know much more. We know where we at. We know what is and what is not in resonance. And this is what is going to support us going forward, because now we're going to make the adjustments, and the adjustments have to be made from inside out. And this is what all this retrograde energy is supporting. It's taking us inwards to, so this transmutation can take place on an inner level, because it's the inner world, it's the lunations that are the most important, because this is how the evolution of the spirit incarnate in a physical body with this identity we are experiencing life through, it's evolving, and this is what's happening. Okay, oh my God. So we are at 46 minutes. I think that probably covers it. Thank you, Spirit. That probably covers the gist of it, of what is this upcoming 2 weeks about, and also already getting the sprinkling of the energy of the full moon lunar eclipse in Neptune, because this is literally a preparation. This in between is a preparation for exactly that. So anyway, guys, let me start pulling some cards before I, talk for too long, and I haven't even pulled a single card yet, because I have a few decks that wanted to be acknowledged. So let's just do that. Okay, so yeah, I want to start with, do I still have it open? Yeah, with the Akash. Let's do the Akashic records, the Sandra and Taylor, the Akashic Tarot. Okay, the Akashic records. What are we allowed to know at this time about this time in between the new moon in Virgo and the full moon lunar eclipse in Pisces, and going forward, please? Okay, what is the guidance from the Akashic records? Okay, we have a card. Archangel Raphael, yeah, healing of the heart. Healing of the heart, exactly. This is number 8, which I believe is the strength card. I'll check, but I believe this is the 8 is the strength card, and we are in the year number 8, and we know this is all about heart. Mercury had the retrograde in Leo, right? So it is about rebuilding the connection to our heart and then to one another, because we are disconnected from ourselves. We feel disconnected from everyone else. And look at all that green, Virgo season, the healing, and all the light that's streaming through. You can see all the light that's streaming through, right? And at the bottom, oh, the chess game, of course. The Three of Swords reversed. The Three of Swords reversed. The chess game. Yeah, because we no longer want to play this game. That's why we no longer want to play this game, you know, like a bee, like a puppet on a chessboard. No, this is the Aquarian age, and Pluto then going back into sign of Aquarius in November. It's all about breaking the pattern. We already we have been spoon-fed. After that, we going for it. We going for the main meal, you know, once Pluto move into the Aquarius, especially the first 10 degrees, right? Okay, let's see what the booklet wants to add. But yeah, the way we're going to get out of it is through the heart. Exactly, the heart. Okay, let's see. Archangel Raphael, number 8. Okay, here we go. Yeah, Strength card. The Archangel Raphael walks down a path of and approaches you, sharing his healing and uplifting light. He is a profoundly loving spirit who has an important role in bringing the Akashic power to you. This beautiful being carries the energies of love, family, miracles, healing, and blessed journeys. He can share all these intentions and experiences with you and more. Of all the archangels, Raphael most often comes in the guise of a human. This card can indicate that helpful others may be attending you now. It also portends a time of great achievement in your personal life, and Raphael is opening the door. Blessings abound with this card upright. There might be a renewal of a lost dream, a reuniting of family members, or a healing perhaps of a physical condition or a broken heart. Even if these conditions have been hanging on for a while, now is the time when you can really break through. Let Raphael be your partner in this process, and you'll soon see why they call him the miracle worker. So yeah, and then the Akashic force. Open yourself to the present and touch of the Archangel Raphael who stands beside you now. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and feel your whole self feel with the healing energy and boundless love. Every cell, every thought, every moment vibrates with the radiant power and love of Raphael. Yeah, because this is the age of Aquarius in opposition with Leo. You know, the going beyond the division and separation and seeing ourselves as one family, but not through we all have to be the same way. No, it's actually the opposite. Even like when we start having, the contact, the disclosure, the contact with the extraterrestrials and stuff, we are all family. But at the moment, we don't even get on with our own family and friends. And God forbid, if you are from different side of the world, have different opinions and different color of skin. So how are we going to get on with the beings that are not even from this planet when we can't even get on with one another? And it's through the heart, right? So whatever is going to be taking place in the world that's going to open the heart. Also, you can see he's got orange pants, which is all about the sacral chakra, the joy, because we want to enjoy life. Because how many people are happy? Again, this question comes around so often. How many people are happy, in all this division and separation and chasing after material stuff? How many of us are happy, right? Even the rich people are not happy, many of them. Not from the money anyway, there has to be more than just that. So yeah, let's look at this chess game. Three of Swords, right? Broken heart. Gosh, where are the forces? Oh, this is the keys. Forces, roses. Okay, I need to pause the comment. Okay, now I understand why I couldn't find it, because the keys are actually wands. The keys are not swords, they are wands. So, yeah, so this is Three of Wands reverse. And in this case, it says, this card shows that the political conflict with co-workers, business management, your family, or a disruptive group has grown untenable. It's unlikely to change, and some people's position might topple or might have done so already. it's time to walk away. Even if you can't actually leave immediately, disengage emotionally, begin to make plans that will help you put the difficulties, worries, and unhappy people behind you. Don't be discouraged. By bringing this to an end, you create a space to bring more peace and promise to your life. It's time to leave the political game behind you, so create a strategy to move on to new beginning. Akashic Force. Close your eyes and feel yourself upon a chessboard. Really put yourself there and take a look around you. See who the other players are and how you feel about them. What do you want your next move to be? Yeah, because Three of Wands is actually a very auspicious card. It's about setting yourself up on a journey towards, in a sense, fulfilling your purpose, because Wands is a fire element, right? So now it makes sense. Yeah, it would make sense even if it was a Swords, but it makes more sense with the Wands, because obviously it is the movement, and and we can see the state of the world, and of course, the state of politics and the states of our relationship and stuff, and there is that has to be a very different approach to it, because like I was mentioning in my previous videos, if we speak to people egos, if we speak from ego to ego, there is no winning. There is no winning. And it was 54-54 as I said that, which is 9-9. There is no winning. So we have to learn to speak from our heart. We need to approach relationships differently. And if there is nothing we can do, within that relationship, then you need to move on. Because, we have to focus on our energy on creating this new, not to keep getting stuck in this cobweb, in this chess game, and just, be a pawn, to be like moved around, but really being in the same place, right? Not moving anywhere. Okay, let's go to Shaman Dream. I was not going to use this deck because I used it recently, but it really wanted to speak, so let's see. Okay, Shaman's Dream. What is the guidance for this reading, please? Thank you. Okay, what are we supposed to know from this deck? Okay. Will-o'-the-wisp. Treasures hidden in the shadows. Shadow work. And it's again 8, 62, number 8. Wow. And 6 and 2. 6 is the harmony and balance, and 2 is about the partnership and also polarity. And at the bottom is mindful, group think. Look, that looks pretty beautiful over there. Mindful, group think. And there is a clock. The time is ticking, and this is number 4. So we have 6, 2, 6, and 4. This is the stability. And it's also what Lee Harris was saying with regards to the energies for September, where he said this cosmic heart consciousness, it's coming through, which is more about this we than just I. So when we're making choices, we're going to be thinking long term, not just like, okay, this one decision, how is it going to just affect me, but actually how is it going to affect us, but again, it's not through sacrifice, it's about being mindful. So let's see. Okay, will-o'-the-wisp. Let's do this one first, the shadow work one. 62. Okay, it's actually almost the last card of the deck. Treasures hidden in the shadows, the great mystery, epiphany. Will-o'-the-wisp hovers in her luminous glory about the twilight moors of your life, whispering for you to step into the fog, into the mystery, the unknown. You might have been visited by her before, but though intrigued, you refused her invitation. It would be safer, you decided, to remain on the journey you know. While you always have a choice as to whether to follow her or not, you never know when you might encounter her again. In this case, turning away has its own consequences. Why is the known so appealing? It's only when you wake up to its restrictions, its soft prison or golden cage, that you realize there must be more. Will-o'-the-wisp has come to you once again to offer you magic, but you will have to sacrifice certainty in the pursuit of adventure, your comfort zone for the dangers of discovery, your well-trodden path for the detours that might very well lead you astray, or will they? Can you accept that losing yourself will bring you closer to your true self? The profound shift of the epiphany can occur only when you risk the detour and enter the unknown. Now is the time to trust higher forces to lead you into this place, these worlds hidden at the threshold between what was and what can be. Here is where you will learn about your own unmaking to unmask yourself. Love what you discover, dark or light. See it all as divine and find a quiet, thrumming power waiting for you to channel it into the world for good. The treasure you find, filled with the wealth of love and kindness, true prosperity, is ripe to share with others. She is here for you now. Will you accept her invitation? A great bounty of goodness awaits you. Wow, so this is literally that, and it's that Mars, it's that Mars going into Cancer and then going to have retrograde, letting the old go, because we cannot experience, that's the thing, we cannot experience a different world, a different reality if nothing changes. And we are the ones that are creating this reality, so we have to change. It has to start from us, each and every single one of us. And we have to face that which we don't like about ourselves in order to be able to, accept these aspects of ourselves, but also understand why they exist. The shadow, turn the wounds into the gifts, the things that we don't want to see, that we don't want to accept, that we don't want to look at, into the gift to the humanity. Mindful, this is this one. So I feel like we go through here, the shadows, to get to here, the new earth, the new world, the new structure of reality. This is all about the balancing of the polarities and the ego and the disconnection from the higher self, which created this, this ego-centric way of being, feeling disconnected and alone and separate. And then this is the new structure of reality that we build in. And this looks like a pyramid made of trees. Okay, let's see. Mindful, keeping a clear mind, hurtful thoughts, group thinking. The human mind can be so many things: a prison, a latrine, a circus, a temple, a cave. It can be a place of restriction or a place of never-ending expansion. Right now, be careful of where you wander in your mind. The quality of your thoughts is the key. If you're in a fertile time for full manifestation. You want to ensure that the seeds you plant will sprout and flourish into the life you seek to grow. Be mindful not to scatter weeds. It's easy to be influenced by others right now too, especially in our digital age. It's hard to protect yourself from the energy and the sheer amount of information bombarding you 24/7. If you allow all the fear and uncertainty to pollute your mind and emotion, you will fill yourself up with this negativity and then see more of it in the outer world. Stay out of gossip and other forms of groupthink, for when you cut another person down to their level due to their perceived mistakes or limits them by your envy, you activate luck for yourself. So fill yourself with thoughts of plenty. Imagine your universe unfettered by scarcity and alive with abundant hope and goodness. Be mindful of what your mind is full of and keep the faith. Good brings more good, love more love, gratitude more things to be grateful for. Yeah. It's exactly that, right? Okay, guys, 1 hour. What I have 4 more decks. Which one should we choose? Okay, let's go to the destiny. Sacred destiny. Let's see. What is the destiny? Oops. Okay, too many cards. Yeah, because each will decide for themselves. It's not written in a stone and it's continuously changing. stillness. Oh, there are two. Stillness and release. I mean, come on. And look at the colors. Shadow work and, you know, this new world we're creating from being mindful. Stillness, same color. Still same color scheme. Stillness. And then we creating release. So we, you know, it's an opportunity to release. So something new can come in. What's at the bottom? Going forward. I mean, come on, guys. You can't even make this stuff up. Going forward. Yeah, going forward here, you know. I mean, seriously, stillness. Be still to release what needs to go in order to get to this new earth. Birthing new earth. I mean, okay, let's just see, you know, a little bit from the booklet, but this is so self-explanatory. Stillness. Okay. The sacred landscape wants you to know. So this is the one with the swan. Take a step back from a project, situation, or relationship, even for just a few moments. Mend bridges. Slow down. Breathe. Be still. Go within. Listen to your inner voice. Take time to connect with your spirit guides, ancestors, and spiritual guardians. Listen to your higher self. Timing is everything. This is not a good time to start a new cycle. Wait. Incubate. Fix things that needs fixing. Heal things that needs healing. Think things through. Forgive yourself and others. If things seem barren or even bleak, hold on. Just as the migrating birds find new life in the tundra marshes in the summer, you will too expand once again during the coming thaw in your life. And it's on the page number 88. 88, number 8, you know, and we had the 888 portal, right? I mean, come on. So yeah, so we are in a little bit of a lull. That's why we have Uranus going retrograde and Saturn. Why Saturn is coming up to my mind, spirit? Well, because Saturn is the structure of reality that you are dissolving, of course. Yeah, Uranus is retrograde, Saturn is retrograde, Pluto is retrograde, Pluto is back into Capricorn, ruled by Saturn retrograde, and yeah, you know, Mercury just stationed direct, but Chiron is retrograde, Jupiter will be retrograde from October, so Neptune is retrograde, of course. Everything is retrograde to take us inwards. And it was a new moon in Virgo, new moon, which is a seeding. And yeah, and the full moon is just going to illuminate it, what it is that has to be released. Wow. Okay, release. Let's go for the release. Release. Here we go. The autumn leaves. That's where we're heading now. Release. The time of stillness and release. Autumn lights. The sacred landscape wants you to know, when you receive this card, it is time to let go and surrender. Let go and surrender. Let go of situations, people, and objects that do not serve you. Let go of old, outmoded, self-limiting beliefs that drag you down. This is a time of stripping away superficial distractions until you reach who you are at your core. That's the Mars in Cancer. If you are holding on to the old, it is difficult for anything new to come into your life. Begin to clear your home and live in environments of clutter. Virgo season, clear it out of your space. It's time for a detox. To get ready for the new, you must release the old. And yeah, and the card that was underneath was this one, going forward. Going forward. So we are in a stillness to decide what needs to go, and then we go forward. We go forward here. Okay, let's see. When you receive this card, fertility, productivity, love, health, abundance, and fulfillment are ahead of you. Things are growing and expanding in your life. Keep going forward. Sometimes it might be easy to be distracted by what's occurring around you, but this card indicates that it is important to not let anything hold you back from increasing the bounty in your life. Step up and know that your needs will be taken care of. Your life is escalating and intensifying in the best possible way and for your highest good. Exactly, because this is what we're creating. This is the potential, you know, the heart-centered consciousness, connecting to the life and each other in a different way, being mindful, not fearful. This is the path, and we are at the beginning. You can see we are at the beginning. You know, we are right here at the beginning of this path. Wow, I mean, seriously, these cards. Okay, and final deck I'm going to use Oracle of Delphi, because this is my one of my soul decks. I love this deck so much. Okay, Oracle of Delphi. So we already had Akash, we already had Shamans, we already had Destiny speaking. Now let's ask the Oracle. Oracle of Delphi, closing message, please. Thank you. These cards are so big. Seer! We had this card last time. You know, like the Lilith. And you know, the eagle, you know, not eagle, the owl. Learn from the wisdom of the past and unleash the divine within you, the seer. You are already a seer. You already know. This is like a high priestess card. You already know what's at the bottom. Nurture. Oh my God, seriously. Tap within the wisdom that's within you, because the new life is already there. Look, nurture, it's already there. Seed, conceive, nourish, and birth. We birth in the new earth, but the way we're gonna birth it is through connection with our inner wisdom, seeing things from higher perspective, and the regeneration, continuous regeneration by shedding the parts of ourselves, the antlers, shedding the parts of ourselves that no longer serve us. Unleash the wild within you, you know, the true authentic expression of your soul. You came here to be, because you are pregnant with potential to create a new earth. Look at this butterfly, the transformation, and all these poppies. Wow. Yeah, enlighten, visualize, interpret, and the nurture. We haven't had this one before. This is, oh wow, 25, number 7, and this is 16, number 7. That is the number of Neptune. But also in a major arcana is the Chariot. There will be a lot of things happening very quickly, I feel. Okay, let's read the Nurturer, because we haven't had that card before. We already had the Seer before. But yeah, this Nurturer, this is the first time I pulled that card. Number 16. Okay, so there's this lady, pregnant with possibilities. This is like an empress. This is like a high priestess and the empress. Nurture, seed, conceive, nourish, and birth. The cosmos kisses Gaia as new life springs from fertile soul. Flower buds unfurl into bright blooms. Butterflies flutter with anticipation. Ripe fruit embellishes the mother tree. A bountiful harvest is yours. Oh my God, that's literally almost the same thing that this card said. Beloved Gaia, goddess of the earth, embraces you with her generous spirit, endless love, and plenitude of abundance. The Earth Mother counsels and supports you through ever-evolving life cycles. A fertile beginning is coming your way, but to fully embrace it, you must authentically love, accept, and cherish every aspect of yourself. That's the Empress, the Taurus, you know, Venus, self-love. Listen to the wisdom of your body and to support yourself in nourishing ways. Mothering yourself and receiving with love and gratitude cultivates heaven on earth. In this state of grace, your feeling of contentment overflows to others effortlessly. Denying your own needs does not serve anyone. Like Gaia, you also have the capacity to create life on earth. Nurture your soulful creations to fruition, whether this takes the form of project, child, or idea, or a child. Stay grounded to anchor your vision. It all begins with a pollinated seed, a creative concept, and inborn wisdom. Cultivating new growth through the full term is a labor of love. Know that your groundwork and determination will bear abundant fruit. As the personification of the earth, Gaia is all knowing and nourishes life without hesitation or obligation. She is the midwife that supports you through your labor of love. Seek her guidance by spending time outdoors, surrounded by magnificent beauty of the earth. Home In the arms of the Sacred Mother, you flourish and thrive in unison with her breath, seasons, and endless bounty. You are fully prepared and ripe to birth your soulful offering and precious baby into the world. Nurture your creation with tender loving care, and you will see a flourishing yield. There is plenty of space for you and your creations. The oracle's prophecy, a fertile harvest is springing forth. Chakra, sacral, the natural cycle of fertility and creation. Talisman, the monarch butterfly, symbolizes transformation and rebirth. Its short-lived existence reminds us that life is precious. Faith in action step. Move out of your comfort zone and be open to trying something new. Say yes to new adventures and experiences. Alignment activation. Get grounded and anchored to the Earth Mother. Affirm. I nurture myself. I am in harmony with the cycles of life. I open my awareness to the expansion of love. I anchor my attunement into the Earth. Artist insights. Nurture yourself. It is your time to bloom. Reap the fruits of your labor. Oh my God, there are so many thoughts, but everything is confirming what was coming throughout this entire reading. Like, there is no way back. There is no way back. It's maxed out. We are now entering the cycle of Earth, which is about happiness and joy and love and connection, because the other cycle is maxed out. It's maxed out. So we need to attune ourselves to this new frequency, because that's what is in alignment with the evolution of this planet. This is where Gaia wants to go, with or without us. With or without us. So that's the work. That's the work. To free ourselves from that which is preventing us from being there and feeling that way. All these shadows that are preventing us, because they are the unhealed wounds of the past, the unhealed wounds of previous generations and our previous incarnations and the previous times. All these unhealed wounds, they are in manifestation at this present moment of time to be transmuted, so this new can be birthed, because it's already here. It's already here. You see, the woman is pregnant. It's already here. Okay. Major Arcana, to close this reading, please. World, yes. Endings. Judgment, yes. 20 and 21, yes. 21, number 3, because of the expansion. Judgment. Answer the call. Answer the call. It is the time. Because the cycles are ending. And Temperance underneath that. Time of healing. Yeah. I have nothing else to add. I think it's all there. Okay, this time I want to remember, because last time I forget. I would like to thank all the beings of light, my higher self, my spirit guides, ancestors, Gaia is definitely present, and our angelic team, all the beings of light being present, everybody that I've forgotten, you are in my heart. Thank you for being present for this reading. Thank you for all the messages. Thank you, cards, for all the messages that come through. Thank you, my astrology guides, for bringing through messages. And thank you, everyone, for watching. Thank you. I hope that this was helpful. And yeah, as I mentioned, this will be covering the 2 weeks worth of astrology. So the next time I see you, it will be for the full moon lunar eclipse in Pisces. So until then, I wish you all a wonderful time. I will be popping on with my practical application of astrology at some point. And I'll see you again on the other side. Much love, everyone, and bye for now.